Hi, this is Reg Athwal, and welcome to our channel for another one of our episodes on our show theme today, Family Business Experts, where I get a chance to interview an expert or entrepreneur who can give us insights, ideas, words of wisdom, practical things that we can apply either for our family, business, or ideally both. So it's a real pleasure to have our guest today who's based in Russia, okay, St. Petersburg. And our good expert here today, world authority when it comes to customer experience, is Olga Guseva. And her company, I hope I pronounce this right, is Integria, okay? Because it's meant to be pronounced in the right way, I was told, all right? She's the managing partner of this organization, which is one of the few consulting companies in Russia now focusing on customer service. She has a PhD, she's an MBA, and there's a whole bunch of acronyms. I don't know the meanings of all of them, she can tell us, but she is a CCXP, which is based around this whole customer experience professional industry, a CXPA recognized trainer, leader of the International Customer Experience Masterclass in Russia. And then the list goes on in terms of multiple awards that she has won in the customer experience space. She was also a co-author of a customer experience book with many other experts. She's been doing this for 20 years, delivered projects, I believe, over 100 now in 20 countries with her and her team. And on that note, let's get into this whole customer experience industry and learn a few things. So on that note, welcome, Olga, to the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Nice meeting you.
Yeah,
hello, Rich.
How's it going? How's the weather in St. Petersburg? It looks very bright there today.
You're not going to believe it, but the gray St. Petersburg just is swimming in the sunshine, which is so unusual and so pleasant.
Beautiful. Well, I hope I pronounced the company name correctly. I was told to, you emphasize more on the E rather than maybe when we see the word integrated. So it's slightly different, yeah?
In Russia, we say Integria.
Aha, okay, Integria. Okay.
And it comes from integral. So the meaning is that when you work with customer experience, it's really important to see the whole picture, not the small pieces, and integrate all of them into one big picture. So that's why we decided to call ourselves Integria.
Love it. So Olga, tell me, with your 20 years plus of working in the whole customer experience space, first of all, this word CX comes up a lot, okay? Does that just mean customer experience, or does CX mean a lot more than that? Could you educate us for those of us who don't know about this?
Okay, let me share with you a story that my teacher and mentor, Ian Golding, one of the most famous and popular customer experience specialists in the world, loves to share. So he have written a book that is called Customer What? And let me tell you why a book has such a funny name. He used to be a customer experience specialist for quite many years, more than 20 years across the world. And when his friends and families and business acquaintances were asking, what are you doing actually in your company? And he was saying customer experience. And the people were asking back, customer what? And that's how the name of the book came up. And actually the reality is that in quite many instances, people are not familiar what customer experience is. But actually it's very simple. It's the ability of the company to wrap everything around customer. Business processes, products, people, everything that happens within the company should turn around the customer and be for the sake of the customer. And that makes companies successful and profitable.
Got it. I mean, obviously in my library, there's many books on dealing with the customer experience. But if we were to really simplify it to what works, okay, based on the 100 projects you've delivered around the world, I should say, with clients, what have you discovered of what really works? It doesn't matter what industry, there is a core DNA to this whole CX that time and time again, it's proven and it works. What would be some of those things?
Okay, I would probably start with saying that actually customer experience works. And there are quite a lot of research showing the relationship between the quality of customer experience and commercial success of the company. And it's a proven correlation. telling every business, no matter how big or small it is, in which industry, in which country, if you care for your customer, you work on your commercial success. So the question is how to make it, and it's going to differ in different companies. If you are a multinational conglomerate, your business process is going to be different than, say, if you are a small barber shop somewhere, I don't know, in Indonesia, for example. But the basic idea stays the same. Know your customer, know what he or she wants, do everything to satisfy the needs, and stay what you are. Keep to your mission, keep to your values, not to really lose it. And then it's going to be fine.
So what would be, if no one's ever, how can I put it, implemented CX methods, okay, in their company? Yeah, they've got customers, they go day to day using their common sense, they call people up, they ask them how they are, they provide their products and services. But now, if we look at it from a scientific point of view, okay, with all the methods that you use, if they're brand new to this, what would be some of the steps they would need to go through?
Okay, actually, customer experience CX is really a science, but the beauty of it is it is quite intuitive. And a lot of companies, you're right, they are already doing that and doing that right without even knowing how it's called. It's really knowing your customer, it's caring about your customer, solving customer problems, and all that builds the whole customer experience science. What science gives us is the ability to go step by step and make sure you don't miss any important parts, and that you set up proper measurement system, you have your strategy, you implement it, you involve people to understand why customer experience is so important, and everyone within the organization understands why he or she is doing that.
So with the whole crisis this year with COVID-19, how has it affected the whole customer experience relationship between the customer and the company? What are the lessons that the world, has learned in terms of customer experience?
For the probably last 2 months, I've been constantly in touch with customer experience experts all across the world and in Russia. And we've been sharing a lot of experience what companies are facing now in these COVID times and how it affects the relationship between the company and the client. And the common knowledge that's universal across the whole world is actually COVID showcased how important customer experience is. And the companies who have been caring about their clients before the situation, they actually have experienced a great deal of support from the customers, willing to understand what company is facing now and helping company overcome the difficulties. They are happy to wait a bit longer on the line. They're happy to agree to longer times of delivery or shortened product range because they value the company, they value the product, and they value the relationship. On the other side, the companies who were arrogant, who didn't care about customers, who thought they are unique, who thought they are irreplaceable, they have discovered that the customers just went away. And actually now is the time that defines the future.
Wow. So if I could come in there, you talk about a lot about customer loyalty.
Yes.
Is this linked to that, which is your behavior before the crisis is now going to impact you during the crisis because loyalty is not there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. What companies have done before is helping. It's now or not helping now. And what company is doing now is going to affect how the company will get out of this crisis. Will it have customers when the whole thing is over and the shops are open? Will the customers come back or not? This is being decided now, here and now.
So what if you were arrogant before, you weren't caring, the crisis is going on? How, are you saying that's it, you're finished, you're dead? Or there are things that you can do to revive your customer experience again with your customers? Is there a way out?
It's really never too late until you're dead. So it's never too late to start. If you have never been doing that, you are well behind, but that means it's right now the time to start doing it.
And what are those things you can start doing then? Can you give us some real examples, or maybe a case study from a project of they were in a really bad situation and then they implemented all of Olga's methodologies, and then, whoa, you know, they thrived and became really successful. Do you have an example?
Okay, let me share with you a story of a small dance studio in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
And you can imagine dancing is a very social and very personal thing. So when the COVID crisis came, all dance studios were closed, and our studio as well. And some studios have decided, okay, we're going to wait until the whole thing is gone and we can work again. Mm-hmm. But those guys didn't want to give up. They said, okay, we'll try it online. And they started running online marathons with the teachers sitting at home next to their dogs, kids, beds, and everything, showing basic steps and airing some music. There were a lot of technical hiccups, but the most important thing that had happened there is that the studio have shown, guys, we care about you. We are here and we miss you. Let's do something together. Let's try. It's not going to be perfect, but let's do something about it. So they tried this one. Something had worked, something didn't. But in the end, they have found the way to really teach online, teach dancing online. I never thought it's going to be possible, but it really worked. And guess what? Now they are running online dancing festival. Of course, it's not the same like a physical presence, but it's much better than nothing. And it's a way to get together with the clients, hear them, talk to them. And what those guys have done perfectly, after running the first online class, the owner of the studio have called every single student and asked for the feedback. How it was, what worked, what could have been done better, maybe there's something you could recommend. And they managed to actually build new product that's probably going to be viable even after COVID times, because I don't know, summer is time when people are away, but you can still keep learning online.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good case study. I really appreciate you sharing that. And one of the things that I noticed when I was going through your website as well is in the CX industry, there's a lot of people using this, I don't know exactly, but it's like MRI methodology with this circle, you know, so could you tell us about how does that work when you're working with a client? What this MRI type methodology?
Okay, actually MRI is an excellent tool that have been created, built to measure and manage the customer centricity of the company. And it have been developed by a company called Market Culture. They are based in Silicon Valley, and they have been researching the link between customer centricity and commercial success for more than 10 years. It's a huge academic research led by Professor Lyndon Brown. He used to work at the University of New South Wales, and he is actually the author of many books, and he's actually the co-author of Philip Kotler, the guru of marketing.
Okay.
So Professor Brown have been researching this link, and he have discovered that level of customer centricity is deeply correlated with 35 key measures of commercial success, be that profit, return on investment, sales growth, ability to innovate, and many, many other important things that are vital for the company. And his team has started working on what it is within the corporate culture that drives this success. And they came up with 8 so-called disciplines, 8 directions that together constitute the customer centricity of any company. And it comes from corporate culture, because it's actually, what is actually corporate culture, customer centric culture? It's a mindset of the people, of employees, that translate into daily actions.
Right.
And these tools helps you divide this notion of corporate culture, which is intangible like cloud, into 8 specific directions, 8 specific disciplines, measure the strength of each discipline within the company. And if it's not perfect, do something about it. Do small practical steps every day to improve the level of customer centricity and bring commercial success.
Like it. Okay, very interesting. And when it comes to customer experience and CX, do we all need it? Does it really apply to everybody or not? Only big companies?
Actually, Reg, that's a $1 million question. And we hear it quite a lot because sometimes we work not only with the big companies like banks and telecoms, but also middle and small size businesses. And they frequently ask us, is it really for us? We hear a lot that all those big names are running big measurements programs. They are making strategic sessions, long-term corporate culture development programs, rebranding, etc. All those things that belong to that big corporate world. But we're a small company, so do we really need it? And we always ask back, do we have customers? And if the answer is yes, then you need it.
So do you only come in then when there are customers, or would you also help an organization to acquire customers?
Customer experience is about both what happens with the current customers and it's about new customers as well. Because let's look at this link. If you as a company is capable of delivering great customer service, what happens with customer experience? The customer is happy because you have met his expectation or even exceeded them. Then gradually over time with over and over great customer experience, the loyalty builds. You start trusting this brand, you start trusting this company. And what happens if you are loyal to the company? You start buying more, you start buying other products from this company, and you start recommending. And this is how your lifetime value grows as a customer, and this is how new people come to the company. And for many businesses, referrals are the main and most valuable source of new customers.
I'm glad you've said that, because I totally agree. I think the key word you said is the most valuable source. I'll tell you why, and I'd love to have this debate with you. And when we talk about social media, and people say, oh, you know, I've got X million of followers, and, you know, we've got this going on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and everyone's talking about ads and acquisition and lead generation. I don't know. I'm not the expert in that area, Olga. You know, with your community who are experts, but I'd love to know how effective are all of those things in generating customers versus giving one customer a great experience and then getting 5 referrals or 3 referrals. You know, I want your opinion, honestly, of all of those marketing activities linked to customer acquisition and then experience. Are they effective or not?
Okay, actually, if you look at the statistics of how advertising works, if you look back 10 years, when all those online advertising channels have appeared, it worked pretty simple. You just invest money and it worked. But if you're into this for a while, you know that every year it's more and more expensive to acquire a new customer. Why? Because there is more competition. The world is getting commoditized and more products are available at the same space online. And all of them are just one click away.
Right.
And then the customers believe advertising less and less. What is the result? That the cost of acquiring a new customer through advertising is rising. It's universal across all channels.
And it's crowded as well, Olga, isn't it? It's crowded where we're bombarded with so many, you know, different messages, and people are busy as well. And it's almost like it makes you think, well, what strategy actually works to get the attention of a prospective client or a prospective customer, and then do business with them. Obviously, the customer experience you have to delight them. They have to be satisfied for them to then refer you. But I'm talking about the beginning of the process of acquiring without maybe the referrals, using these other sources. How effective are they? It's a crowded place. You know, I'd love to know what does work in that area. What have you seen work?
Okay, I actually spent more than 20 years, my whole life, in marketing, and many of them in advertising. So I have seen all of that. I've seen the print media, blossoming and then basically going away. Now it's getting smaller and smaller market share. The increase of online advertising. So, I mean, it's, first of all, it's always getting more and more expensive, and it's harder and harder to get new customers. That's fact, that's universal across all markets, across all countries, that's for sure. So if I would know the recipe, spending less and acquiring more, I mean, I would be probably a billionaire now. But the answer to that is, unfortunately, there is no magic bullet or magic pill to eat
Really?
and do perfect
Oh,
advertising. I'm sorry.
That means we're going to really have to come to the end of this interview quite rapidly. You know, what you're trying to tell me, there is no secret then. There's no magic bullet, pill, whatever you want to call it.
But what comes after but is usually the most important thing. The best way and the cheapest way to acquire new customers is referrals. And think where they come from. They come from your current existing customers. So if you manage to build customer experience of your existing customers so great, so unforgettable, that people are willing and happy to recommend you. On social media, it's now so easy. It's just 2 words to type and here you are. And actually, what have social media done? It increased this equation. It multiplied it. Because it used to be like the classical knowledge, marketing knowledge would have told you that one happy customer would tell 2 or 3 people, one unhappy customer will tell 6 to 7 people. But now it's quite different. It's more, both for happy and for unhappy customers.
Right.
So that means even one single company, and there are quite a lot of examples across the world, that even one unhappy customer can ruin the business. Or one happy customer can be more efficient than the whole advertising campaign.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at this year, not only with the crisis, but also everything else that's going on when you know, Black Lives Matter and what's going on around the world. It's escalated, it's caught momentum so quickly also because of social media, right? So if there is bad news, you know, someone does something to someone or doesn't treat a customer in the right way, someone has a bad experience, it almost goes viral in rapid speed, doesn't it, compared to maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Exactly. So talking about magic pills, no magic pills. I've been last year I've been judging the International Customer Experience Awards in Amsterdam. It was a huge event with participants from 53 different countries all across the world, big and small, different industries. And then I was speaking at one of Russian Customer Experience Forum, and they were also asking, please, is there any special magic bullet, magic pill? And I said, guys, well, you know, I just came from Amsterdam. I couldn't find it even there. So looks like it's not existing in the world. But if it is existing, the reason is go step by step, invest into customer experience. Do it right, be consistent. And this is like the combination of small things makes this magic for the customer and for the business.
So what could be 3 really simple ideas or strategies, 3 simple, keep it simple, to create that customer experience?
Okay, the first thing is you need to know what customer wants. So if you have never spoken to your customers, just do it. Just pick up the phone and ask the customer what's going on. Are you happy? Are you happy with the delivery? Don't go for, I don't know, formal questionnaire. Just talk. Especially now in this crisis time, I think everyone have discovered that we are not just positions and I don't know, a name in the list. We are humans. We have our emotions. We have feelings, and so few companies are just doing it.
So
just
number one, it sounds very simple and easy, but you know, some people avoid it. I don't know why they avoid it. Is call up your customers and speak to them and ask them what.
Call up your customer and speak to them. If you are I don't know, delivering the service to them personally. If you are the manager or the owner of the business and you have never talked to customers before, now is the time to do it.
And what do you ask them? So let's say,
Yeah,
what's a couple of good questions you should be asking them?
Probably the most obvious one is how are you doing?
Right.
It's not how we are doing, but how are you doing? What's going on with you? How do you survive now? What have changed in your life? What's important for you now? What are your priorities? What are your needs? So it's not talking about us. Look, we have such a great new product. Why don't you buy it for a reduced price? It's about you.
There's genuine empathy there, isn't there?
Exactly, because crisis and COVID situation has affected a lot of people. Something could happen within the family. They could have lost someone, right?
Yeah.
The buying power of many people have changed. Maybe they simply cannot afford your product any longer, and you don't know how long it's going to last, right? And the needs could have changed also. If you are selling a product, is there a need for this product now? Or customer needs something different?
Yeah, it's good. I like that. So that's all coming from number one, the first tip. What's the second tip? Something simple to start creating that customer experience?
Okay, the second tip would be involve everyone within the organization into the importance of customer. So if you have been sitting in a beautiful office with the glass walls and have never ever seen your customers, it's time to get down, pick up the phone next to a telesalesperson, or stand up at the counter next to your barista and start being there physically with the customers. Wow. Every single person within the organization needs to know exactly who is paying the money to the business and what's important for those people. So the second question would be to involve people, everyone within the organization, into this process of understanding and feeling what's going on with the customers. That's so powerful. Just to give you an example, a huge Russian banks, a really big Russian banks, what are they doing now is every top manager of a bank, of one Russian bank, has to spend 1 day per month at telesales center or at the retail office serving the customers. Why are they doing that? They want to be closer to the customers. So it's not about report and fancy diagrams. It's just being there, hearing, taking complaints, handling the complaints. That's how you learn what's not working good in your organization.
I like that. I really like that, Olga. I think that's a powerful number 2 tip. I'm just visualizing how many chairmen, MD and CEOs I know in family businesses. I'm just wondering how many of them would do that. Okay. So that's quite interesting. And the third one, your third tip, even though the first 2 are brilliant, what's the third one?
Okay. And the third tip would be get back to your mission and values. Just recall, why are you in this business? Why have you started that? What are you standing for? And every company has a mission and values, but the question is, are they something vivid or it's just a decoration on the wall? So return to it, look at it and ask yourself, why are we at this business and how this mission, how these values live through our daily activities. Say, if our value is simplicity, are we really simple now? Now, in these COVID times, are we simple for the customers? If our value is transparency, are we really transparent? What are we doing right now to be transparent? Are we communicating clearly with the customers? Is our top manager or owner of the company is addressing the customers directly, honestly explaining what's going on and what to expect? And understanding this mission as value and values is critically important. First of all, it's a great tool to unite everyone within the organization around it. This is why we are here. It's not just about money. We are more than money. We are doing that for a purpose. And this purpose is like a glue that puts all people together
Yeah.
And it also works as a polar star, North Star, as a guidance. How do you do everything you do? How do you interact with the customers? What's right for the company? What's right for the business? So this is like a return to the basics of why are we doing this business and how shall we reshape? Which decisions are we going to make? Are we going to launch this new product or not? Are we going to go online, or this is against our values? So we will, I don't know, find the ways to.
That's great, Olga. I love it. I love it. So, you know, one, actually calling customers up, empathy, asking how they are, you know, really getting that conversation going. Then you're moving into, like you said, put your ego to one side, be humble, get out of your executive office and actually be with your team to experience how to sell and how to deal with the customer. And third, like you said, get back into your understanding, your clarity of your vision or your mission and your values and why you're doing it. So these are three really good tips. And now I want to ask you, Olga, what about you? Okay, when you work with people, you're an international speaker, you know, you worked with 22, I believe, other experts last year to publish an entire book on customer experience, sort of hit #1 on Amazon, and all these great things. But your main company is a consulting business. And I believe you've been extremely busy already in the last few months during this pandemic. Why is that? Why are you so busy now compared to maybe earlier? What's happened?
Well, why are we busy? I think the reason is that many companies have started rethinking their relationship with companies, and that's why the interest is there. Mm-hmm. It's the whole world has changed. The company have changed. The customer have changed, and the interaction between the company and the client have changed, and also the old ways stopped working. Some of them are just not available now.
Could you expand on that, Olga? What do you mean by some of the old ways of stock? Like what? What's not
like
working?
I don't know, if you look at the banking industry, the like retail business for the banks have been one of the major focuses of attention. Mm-hmm. But now retail offices are closed. So you had to, and a lot of customers, they used to go to the bank physically, walking there to pay their bills, to check the balance of their card or credit card or debit card, to, I don't know, to ask about the loans or everything. So they've been coming to the office to do that. Right. And now they are forced to move online. Yeah. And a lot of customers are not prepared. They don't know how to use technologies. They have no idea what Zoom is. They have never tried to install the mobile app, and they might not even have the smartphone. And this transformation is forcing, like the situation is forcing the customers into this digital environment. And it's incredibly hard for some of them, especially, for example, the elderly people. And the role of the bank is to help them, to guide them into this new world, into this new environment.
You know, on that note, Olga, I think, you know, you're right there, because I remember a year ago, I think it was about a year ago, where we changed corporate banks. And this was obviously before the crisis. And the #1 reason was because of the inconvenience of their processes. You were treated like a robot, and they had a checklist of things they had to do, but nobody was really being human. Okay. So now with the pandemic situation, and we're forced to go even more on digital, more through websites, more through certain call centers, or what they call it, chatbots, okay, then is this really going to help the customer experience or make it worse?
You mean the digital transformation, how it goes with that?
Yeah.
Well, that's again another $1 million question. And the answer to that is whether you're doing digital transformation for the sake of digital transformation, or whether you are doing it for the sake of being better for the customer. So if you are doing this because everyone is doing mobile apps and you want your own as well, because like it's kind of strange not to have that. Mm-hmm. And are you implementing new CRM system just because, I don't know, your IT department has a budget for it? Mm-hmm. Then you're probably doing it wrong. because you are not doing it for the customer, but you are trying to feed the customer into your vision of how it could work. But if you first start with asking the customer what would be good for them, would they need this mobile application, how they're going to use it, how it's going to improve their life. Maybe the solution is not actually the mobile app, but I don't know, web browser thing, or it's something completely different. It's a new service at all that could fit into this niche and fill this need. Then you're going to be coming with the right decision, and they can come digital. They can end up being digital, because like new people are growing up, this new generation. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and she's totally digital. So if you want to be talking to her, you need to have a mobile application. You need to talk to her via messengers. She's not speaking the phone. So that's the question of being together with the customer. And digital transformation and digital tools are just tools to make it better for the customer and simpler for the customer.
So I'm a bit confused, Olga, because if you take all the teenagers and those future customers that are going to come into the world who are going to be buying, have their wallets, their e-wallets, are you saying then that their customer experience is still all about messaging, information? They're human beings as well. Don't they want that connection? Isn't that important to them?
It is, and probably even more important than for, 40 years old, because they're teenagers. They're very emotional. They don't know how to handle their emotions, and they're sometimes hyperreactive. So if you are talking about the youngsters and they consuming habits, you have to learn, you as a business have to learn how to communicate to them and how to build this emotional link via these digital channels. So the task stays the same. Know your customer, value his emotions, and do it the way that's comfortable for the customer.
What if, Olga, you reach out to the customers, you want to connect with them, you want to build that relationship, but they're not interested? They're too busy. What do you do? Because this is the real world. The real world, most people are busy. They got lots going on. For some people, they look at a supplier relationship, and it's just a transaction. So when someone's calling them and wants to find out how they are and what's happening and ask them a whole load of questions, everyone's built differently. There's some people who love that, and they're the people who like the physical connection as well, the lunch and the dinner and sit together. And then there's a lot of other people who are very direct. In fact, they could be arrogant as a customer.
Yes.
They don't want to have that intimacy and stronger relationship and ask them how they are and what they need. They just like, I know what I want, give it to me, and give it to me at the right price, and I'm done.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts around how do you create a customer experience when you're dealing with people like that?
Well, Rich, in my view, it's again about understanding the customer. And yes, you are very right. The customers are different. Some do really crave for attention, for a personal call from a top manager, and that could make their day. If the owner of the business calls him or her to ask their opinion and ask for a 10-minute conversation, then that could show the value of this person for the company, and that could work. For someone, it's just, no, please, I don't want to be contacted by telephone because it's disruptive. If you want to hear from me, please send me, the WhatsApp message and I reply when I have 3 minutes. Someone can say, no, I don't want to communicate with you. And that's again the question of understanding and respect. And another thing I would say every business shall understand, in customer experience, we use quite a lot the notion of the tool that's called CJM, Customer Journey Map. Probably some of our listeners have heard about that. It's getting quite popular now all across the world. And the idea is that getting feedback from the customer is also part of your customer experience. So, and when we ask for feedback, we shall always do that in a way that's comfortable for the customer. And this comes in several directions, I would say. You have to find the right time.
Yes.
You have to find the right channel. You have to find the right person who's going to be asking questions.
Mm.
And you actually have to feed into customers' ecosystem. And then you have to convince the customer that he is giving his valuable time, this time not going to be wasted, that you're going to be doing something about that feedback. So if you don't do anything about the feedback, you just collect it and then you sit on it saying, okay, the job is done, then you're doing wrong thing. That's for sure. Then you'd better not ask the customer and not waste his or her time.
Valuable tips there from Olga. I think you're absolutely spot on. I wish you could repeat all that again, but people are going to have to watch the video back. But there's a whole bunch of things you said there really quickly about this has to be this, or it could be that, or it could be that. It could be the person that contacts them. It could be the method that you contact. There's a science here, isn't there?
Yes, it is. Actually, this is the whole science of customer experience is about. It's how you integrate yourself as a company into customer life, not the other way around, how customer fits into your life.
Yeah, wow. Well, you definitely got my mind buzzing. I like that one at the end about, what's the point of getting feedback if you don't do anything with it?
Exactly.
Some people do these exercises in companies, don't they? But then nobody makes a decision off the back of it. So what was the point of doing it?
And I can tell you that a lot of companies across the world, that's the data from the international research, a lot of companies are collecting the feedback. Really few are doing something about it systematically and like globally, not just the small bits, but really they have change programs based on the feedback. And even fewer are feeding back to the customer, closing the loop and saying, hello, you have given us this feedback. Look what we have done.
Yeah, wow, brilliant.
Thank you very much for sharing your views. And then when you call this customer next time, you're going to have better chances that you're going to get his attention and he's going to be willing to tell you something again.
Love it. Priceless. So on that note, for those of you still here watching this, don't forget to go to the description area. There's details on how to connect with Olga on social media, direct link to our website. Definitely book her as your next customer experience speaker, whether it's virtually or jumping on a plane once some of these travel bans are over. And also, consider what her organization does when it comes to the consulting side. So maybe to wrap up, Olga, I know you're working on your next book. Okay, tell us about that. What's going to be in your new book?
Okay, the first book that was called Custom Experience, it was actually a collection of a short article from 22 authors, international authors all across the world, devoted to different aspects of customer experience. And my piece was about corporate culture, because I'm convinced that without proper customer-centric corporate culture, no company can build good customer experience. Because you can make some things artificially. You can force people to smile or wear a special color or type of a tie, but you're never gonna manage all the tiny details unless the right attitude sits within the mind of an employee. And that's about customer-centric culture. So in the new edition of this book, Customer Experience 2, I'm also going to be writing about customer-centric corporate culture, but this time I'm gonna concentrate telling our readers about this MRI tool and 8 disciplines that make customer-centric culture tangible, measurable, and as a result manageable, which is so many companies across the world are craving for.
I look forward to it. And when will that be published? When will that be out?
Okay, actually the Kindle launch is planned for July this year, so it's going to be pretty soon.
Great, good. So we'll make sure that we have a follow-up interview with you after that launch, and then maybe we can talk a bit more about that book once I grab a copy myself and read it, and hopefully discuss some of those disciplines that you're talking about. So on that note, Olga, if there was, just to really finish off once and for all, I know you're a busy woman, if there was one last tip, words of wisdom you want to give to anyone who's listening right now who's building their company, whether they're a first generation entrepreneur with a small to medium sized enterprise, whether they're a large family business conglomerate, or they're a corporate, what's the last message you want to leave them with?
Okay, so the last message I want to leave you with would be actually the question. And this question have been, it was a gift that was given to me and everyone who have been reading the book of the Dr. Lyndon Brown, the creator of this MRI technology. And this is a question that you can ask your customers. Every company can do that. Every business owner, be that small or big company. And this question is, if you come to the customer and ask him or her, what do you think my brand thinks of you as a customer? So what we usually ask is, okay, I'm a brand A, what do you think about me? But if you revert this question and say, hi, what do you think I'm thinking about you? How do I see you as a customer? Then the surprising revelation can come in. For example, the Mercedes-Benz have been using this question, asking the customers, what do you think Mercedes is thinking of you? And customers all of a sudden, before, when they were asked about what do they think about Mercedes-Benz, they were saying, well, that's a luxury car and it's very high quality and very reliable. And when they were asked, what do you think Mercedes thinks of you? People started saying, well, they think I have all the time in the world. They think I am full of money that I don't really count. So I have endless source of money. And they think I am here just to buy those new products as soon as they come out. So there was a whole bunch of revelations the company have seen by just reverting this question. Not about what do you think about me, but what do you think the brand thinks of you? How do you as a customer feel the attitude of the brand? And that can bring you to the new discoveries.
I think beautiful. I think we've got to end on that. That will finish on a high. That was a fantastic tip, key question to make sure you start using. And don't forget to, again, go down to the bottom to description to connect with Olga. Hit the subscribe button on the channel if you're in the channel right now to find out about some of the other episodes. We're dropping at least one video a day, okay, through our different show series and episodes. And Olga, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you for lunch or dinner or on some stage in the future and connecting with you and building that relationship further. And I wish you all the best with all the great work that you're doing. So thank you and bye for now.
Okay, Rich, it was my pleasure.
Thank you.